Alright, we recently got a sneak peek at some of the Guardian's new land spear abilities, so it's time for a deep dive. Every profession seems to be getting an extra mechanic or feature with their newly acquired skills, and for the Guardian, those are empowered or illuminated attacks. When fulfilling a specific condition with your current ability, your next one will become illuminated. Only one ability can be illuminated at a time, but fulfilling that ability's specific condition can then cause the next one to be as well. This basically allows you to keep chaining illuminated attacks as long as they're off cooldown, of course. The way they describe this new mechanic, any spear skill you cast next can be illuminated, which would allow for far more freedom than if only a specific one would be. There also seems to be a visual indication that your next attack will be empowered, as we can see some sort of aura around the Guardian whenever they cast one in the preview videos. Spears will be mainly used for support by Guardians, with a focus on buffing allies and debilitating enemies. We know that Spear 2, Helio Rush, will grant resolution to an ally when empowered, and Spear 5, Symbol of Luminance, resistance, and additionally pulses weakness to enemies. Before we speculate about the unknown abilities, let's first take a look at the two we already know about, and let's start with Helio Rush. This ability is very reminiscent of Warrior Staff 2, Valiant Leap, and will cause you to rush forward in the direction you're aiming at, dealing damage to enemies and healing allies you pass through. Even the description of the Guardian Spear's general playstyle matches that of the Warriors pretty close actually. Now, when you hit an enemy with Helio Rush, your next ability will become Illuminated, which gives us a good idea of what these specific conditions to be fulfilled are. Helio Rush itself has of course an illuminated version as well, which will increase the healing done and grant resolution to allies. The second ability we know about is Symbol of Luminance. Every Guardian main hand or two-handed weapon has access to a symbol, and in this case we'll be able to find it on Spear 5. As already mentioned, this symbol will pulse resistance to allies who don't already have it and weakness to enemies. I wonder whether the wording "who don't already have it" means that it will not add duration to those who already have the boon, so stacking large amounts is out of the question, or was just put there to indicate that the boon doesn't stack like Might or Stability does. This ability doesn't have any conditions to fulfill to grant the illuminated status to the next one. Instead, any spear skill you cast while standing inside this symbol will be illuminated. So this is basically an elite baked into the weapon itself. If you cast the illuminated version of Symbol of Luminance, then you can even leave the symbol without losing its unique property. ArenaNet also confirmed that Writ of Persistence, one of the honor traits, will affect the symbol's duration, which is good news because both Heal Firebrands and Heal Willbenders already take this. All of this makes it pretty clear that positioning will be key for Guardians who wield the spear, as you'll need to be able to hit enemies with skills as Helio Rush if you're hoping to get most out of it. There is a bit more information we can glean from the trailer as well. The preview starts off with a Guardian landing a triple attack. First a stab, then a spin, which might indicate an AoE attack, which also puts a symbol below the Guardian, causing the next attack to become an AoE stab. This to me looks like a classic auto attack chain. I originally wondered whether it was a 2-attack chain and that the third ability is the illuminated version of attack number 1, but we don't see the illuminated aura around our Guardian, so for now my money is on a classic chain. Rangers will be getting a new model where their auto attacks are ranged at a distance and become melee when moving close to their target. Given the animations on the Guardians chain and it not being mentioned at all, I think it's safe to assume that Guardians aren't getting access to this new approach. We also know of one more ability, but only the illuminated version, and that is raining literal spears from heaven, which looks amazing by the way. Logic would dictate that this is either the empowered version of a ranged attack, which we might have on Spear 3 or 4, or that it's simply an AoE version of a melee attack with some pretty impressive visuals. We do see that when these spears land, there's some magical blue flames appearing that are hitting the enemy, but for now I would assume those are part of Virtue of Justice, Guardian's F1 ability, as adding burning to the spear might make some elite specs such as a Firebrand a bit too strong. Because remember that Warrior Staff power coefficients have been heavily kept in check to not make it the ideal hybrid weapon as to not outshine any other option. So what does this mean for Guardians? Well, supports typically have one constant, and that is the Staff, which I don't think will change anytime soon, as it offers some ranged healing with Staff 2 and 3, and Staff 4 is a great point-blank AoE skill that helps stacking might. The other set kinda depends on the spec, with Firebrands usually opting for Axe and Torch, and Willbenders for the Hammer. Both have melee range in common, which coincidentally is also where Spear will operate if we want to illuminate or empower some of our abilities. So maybe this will be a candidate to replace either, or maybe even both, which would help saving on equipment templates. One final thing I want to consider are relics, as we'll get new ones in Janthir Wilds as well. Right now, Firebrands use Relic of the Flock, which grants barrier when healing and synergizes well with their short cooldown mantras that can be used multiple times in a row, while Willbenders typically go for Relic of Caracosa, which grants healing to other allies when using a blast finisher inside a combo field. There currently are no relics that interact with symbols, so for me that'd be a real interesting option. Anyway, let's keep it at this for now. I'll take a closer look at the Ranger and Necromancers next, so feel free to let me know which one you would like to see first. Hopefully we get a new preview every Thursday, so that this can be a weekly series that wraps up before the full weapon preview on the 21st or the beta on the 27th.